his throat unless it was Tim David's where it was just at his hips.
Oh, cracking shot.
Absolutely caressed through backward point by Tim. He backed away, gave himself some room and hit that through backward point. Fantastic shot. He certainly looks like he's on song. He's coming with that attitude and that intent this innings. Singapore will be looking. Looks like he's on song. He's coming. I was talking to the CEO of the Singapore Cricket Association, Mr. Saad Khan Janjua, and he meant 3 to 4 years to see what was his. Oh, that's full toss down leg side, tickled away. This is. Oh, that's leg side. What Tim was looking at from a career pathway standpoint when opportunity arose for him to arrive here in Singapore to represent the nation, and he qualified. It sort of aligned with regards to SCA's interests as well as for Tim. So it's great to see that something like this has worked out.
Yes, and this is it's qualification. One is if you're born and they just want more teams. You're born and there's a lot of the big nations or the ones with larger cricket playing, the big nation players to pick from. Tim certainly helps Singapore cause, and he helps the Singapore cause, and given the standard of cricket that he plays in Western Australia, I think it must have been a tough decision for him, because every decision has its implications.
Rohan down the ground, hits it straight over long off. I was predicting this. Rohan's someone who has extremely itchy feet, and when it comes to a spinner and someone who flights it to the likes of Basan, he's not the sort of player that's going to sit back and let the bowler dictate terms.
And this is the difference I was talking.
And let the bowler
going down on one knee and trying to just hit it. He tried that in the first over with Basan. Basan doing the right thing. He's tempting the batsman to make a mistake, and
that's a cracking shot behind point. Basant now bowled a ball pitched up. He's gone down the track, tried to shorten it a little bit, and Rohan's caressed it through backward point. Really good batting, and Rohan's back onto the bowler. This is the third over in the bowler. First few deliveries. So Singapore approaching each over with the right mindset.
And they're doing it by good batting. It's pretty risk-free so far. The shots played have been very high caliber. Basan seems to be a little off color. Basan seems giving the ball good air, but he's just not sort of getting his line right like he did there.
That's a much better ball. You could see that he's put a little bit more body into that ball, and hence he's able to get the right length and the right pace on the ball as well.
The ball, it's there. He's inviting the batsman. He's playing his card there, and the batsman's taken him on. But it was the ball after that I thought was a bit of a poor follow through. I thought, which Rohan punished for 4.
Smashed that ball straight past the bowler for a single. It was just a check drive, but he managed to get enough meat on it to get 4 runs. Singapore going at almost 10 runs and over. Really good start. That's a misfield towards car corner that's helped Tim Davids to come back for the second run. Really good batting by both Tim and Rohan. Both of them have accelerated the innings, have got a couple of boundaries in the last 2 or 3 overs. They're certainly putting Singapore on track to get a good total. Nepal, on the other hand, needs something to break this partnership.
This is where the experience should come in. They need to just slow things down a little. Regmi just readjusting his field. Out there was very well left by Rohan down striker's end.
So going by history, in the form of Paras, who's on screen at the moment, to either bowl his medium paces, or at one point he actually converted to bowling off spin. But unfortunately he doesn't bowl anymore. Paces, or at one point he could be feeling, but unfortunately he doesn't bowl anymore.
Side, I don't think teams come to a tournament. Certainly not Nepal. They've got a good cricket setup. They are a very good side. I'm sure they have the players. Paras's experience is going to come in very handy in this situation to get his players together. I'm sure he's trying to see who the next bowler is.
The next bowler is A. Bohara. Abhinash Bohara. Abhinash coming around the wicket, bowling right arm around. Bit of a slinging action first ball. I haven't seen much of Abhinash Zubin. Bit of a slinging action. Long on, cow corner, square leg, and a short fine. On the off side, third man, point, keeper, and long off. So he'll be looking to bowl wicket to wicket. He wouldn't want to be straying onto the pads as there's minimal protection back of square. That's an
incredible shot by Rohan Rangarajan.
He's pulled that between long on and cow corner. An absolute. Nicely played by Rohan. He'll be targeted to come back for 2. And he does. Singapore certainly off update after this ball. He's absolutely smashed that through long off. Another 6. Zubin Rohan certainly getting into his stride here.
He is, and when he's playing shot, He is, and still he's got great technique, and when he keeps his shape, he's one of the best batsmen to watch in the Singapore circuit. It's when he starts to lose shape or tries something too much that he loses the plot. But
when he tries to overhit the ball.
When he tries to overhit the ball, absolutely, and that's what he's not doing here.
He's pushed that through to long gone for a run. So folks, if you've just tuned in, Singapore won the toss and elected to bat. So if you've just tuned in, innings with Surendran Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan. Surendran Chandramohan getting 2 quick boundaries before departing to Karan Casey, hitting him straight to point. Joined by Tim Davids, and both these batsmen have certainly dictated terms since Tim Davids, see on the scoreboard, Timothy batting on 37, Rohan Rangarajan batting on 41, both of them accelerating on 41, at least 2 boundaries and over. So Singapore over. Big total here. They certainly need to keep their composure, and in Zubin's words, keeping the shape.
Yes, and Yes, and you don't need to be looking for those big slog sweeps.
Sandeep Lamichhane from the other end to where he started bowling to replace Basant Regmi. Rohan's absolutely smashed that past the bowler's head for another 6. He's certainly taking on Lamichhane. He's the same now. That takes him to 47 of 28 bowls. Zubin, I was going to say, it's certainly difficult reading Sandeep Lamichhane of his hands because he bowls with a bit of a cross seam, similar to Imran Tahir. Not like your traditional leg spinner that holds it with the seam and bowls. Hence, picking up the leg spinner versus the wrong end is certainly a bit of a challenge. But Rohan seems to be picking anything at this point.
I think not just Lamichhane, but even Regmi previously. I think what the spinners have done is given room to the batsmen. They've bowled wider of the players, and that's probably why or where they've been taken for runs. I mean, there's been very few balls that have been hit off the stumps, and even this last 6, the ball was flighted, which is good or fine, but it just had a lot of width. It allowed Rohan to free his arms.
That ball got the under edge, but difficult catch for the keeper.
The umpire at that end is Tabarakdar, who I had the good fortune of playing against when he was playing for Hong Kong and I for Singapore. We've had many an interesting tussle. Good run there, good pressure put on the fielder.
Hit straight to point for no run. 10 overs gone. Singapore 96 for 1. I would like to invite Kash Patel back into the comm box. So been going for a bit of a break. Kash, welcome.
Thank you, Sharon. Good to have you back today commentating as well. I really enjoyed commentating with you on the Singapore versus Malaysia match, very knowledgeable about the game, just like Zubin. It's Timothy taking strike to face Buhara, who went for 14 in the first over.
Rohan's gone for a lap sweep here. A wide ball down the leg side. So Abhinash has changed ends. He was, when I say he's changed side, in fact. He was bowling around the wicket. Now he's come over. Good intent from Rohan to try and get the ball over short fine. Tight single, but he's got back. So Cash, 97 for 1 after 10.1. 98 for 1, beg your pardon, after 10.1. Singapore will be very happy with that.
Yes, they would take that any day. And with such positivity, especially Rohan, who's a local homegrown talent I was mentioning the other day. He's first played for Singapore when he's 15. Really happy to see him playing well today.
Great shot by Tim, straight to Paras at covers. I was mentioning to Zubin, usually at a time when Nepal usually needs a wicket, Paras, till up until the recent past, used to be bowling either his medium paces or off spinners. Nepal certainly will be missing his services from a bowling standpoint.
Oh, almost took Rohan out there. Young Tim that was smashed down the ground.
And that's not the first time Tim's done that. So Rohan's probably going to watch himself. But that's what happens when you're absolutely creaming the ball to all parts of the ground. Hit the ball back to Mornan, to Hayward back in Sharjah. That's a fantastic shot, but he's caught at short fine leg. Didn't get the connection that he was wanting, and the fielder was good to get around to snap up a really smart catch.
Yeah, and missing out on a well-deserved 50, really, but very well played by this young man, especially after that early loss of Surendran. I'm sure he's not happy with himself getting out.
Knowing Rohan, he'll probably be kicking himself. momentum for the next 10 overs. Abhinash coming around the wicket to Tim.
Hit down to long on for a single. He had to hurry down in the end. There's a bit of a ricochet off the stumps, and Manpreet was very keen to steal another single. Timothy was not interested.
That's how how hard he hit the ball, Cash. From the boundary, Deepak Ari has hit the stumps down on the full. Brilliant throw.
Very good throw indeed. 11 gone, 101 for 2. Sharon, what would be your target score from here?
Singapore should surely target a score between 210, 220 with the start they've got and the firepower that they have coming in as well. But it's important to carry the same momentum.
And what will be the minimum you would want? I was asking you the other day as well, but on this pitch today, I was told by Zubin this is you would need.
A change in the bowling. We've got Sarad Wesokar coming to bowl. Probably along with Paris, one of the stalwarts of Nepal cricket. Played, if I'm not mistaken, was born in the Middle East and moved back to Nepal, and since then has been an excellent servant to Nepal cricket, bowling his off spinners here. Coming back to your question around the minimum score, Zubin, Cash, this looks like a 190 wicket. But saying that, this wicket is going to open up and certainly going to play a role for the Singapore spinners. But this certainly looks like a 180, 190 wicket at a minimum.
Yeah, and sitting at 102 for 2, you would one would expect Singapore to score at least that, provided they keep that same approach of wanting to rotating the strike and then hit those boundaries in between. To me, that dismissal of Surendran, and Zubin rightly pointed it out, that was to do with the nerves side of it too. When he hit those two back-to-back boundaries, he didn't need to go for that third shot. So as long as they don't commit any of those mistakes in the rest of the innings, I think 180, 190 should be definitely on the cards.
That's exceptionally well played by Tim Davis. Full toss from Sarad. Hit between deep mid wicket and long on.
Cut the two fielders.
Absolutely split the fielders in half. Suddenly going really well for Singapore. 44 of 27. Really looking on song. Tim just rocking back and pushing the ball to deep mid wicket for a single. And
Tim to go on from here.
Singapore would certainly want him to stay right to the very end. Hopefully getting a good 80, 90 odd. But he's the sort of batsman hopefully a single. He's the sort of batsman that can absolutely change gear. Like just the other day, he was there for a short stay, like you mentioned previously, Cash. But the kind of cricket he played, you can already see that he's someone who can score really quick runs. And 45 of 28 has come relatively easily to him in terms of just nudging the ball around and playing conventional cricket. But if he goes big, he can probably accelerate even that current strike rate.
Oh yes, and as we've already seen as well, he can hit the ball hard. I saw him in the nets the other day. One of the players was giving him throwdowns, and the power that he had in his he can hit the ball. The guy giving him throwdowns should go and wear a helmet, because if there's one which would have, slight miss hit or something, the ball was just rocketing into the nets.
Sandeep Lamichhane has come into the attack, and top edge from Manpreet that goes over Paras at covers. So Sandeep Lamichhane coming back from the
Balestier Road end.
Balestier Road end. He started off at the Balestier Road end, bowled his next over from the Serangoon Road end, and he's back to the Balestier Road end.
Rangoon Road.
Rangoon Road's the other side.
Yes.
Apologies, folks. Tim's absolutely massive six. That's six in any ground.
Oh
around the
yes,
world.
definitely, and it's gone out of the ground, and there's lots of spectators here today at the ground, folks. As you can see, the scenery, a lot of Nepali supporters in the Singaporean contingent watching from the pavilion side, just being shown on your, and they are absolutely ecstatic. They've been making a lot of noise, as Tim is now on 51 of just 29.
Great 50 for Tim.
Well earned. Now he plays it to square leg for another single. Smart, intelligent cricket by both these cricketers, although Manpreet, my apologies folks. Early days at the crease for him, but he's rotating the strike and handing over to Tim. Again, just nudged behind square, the keeper runs around. One more single. As Zubin was mentioning earlier, even if they keep to look to score at least just one boundary and over and pull in another 3 or 4 singles, that should easily pull them through for that 180, 190 score.
Another googly by Sandeep, and it's really well played by Tim for a 4.
Smartly ran it down the ground.
Cash, usually teams within T20 or 50 over cricket tend to target the weakest bowler in the opposition for runs. This approach from Singapore to target Lamichhane has worked out really well for them so far.
Oh yes, Lamichhane definitely seems to be reeling a little bit from this approach.
That was the first flighted ball by Sandeep, and he got a bit of purchase from the wicket. That probably sends a message as well, to flight the ball just a tad bit and get as much revolutions on the ball.
Oh yes, I mean, and if you want to get wickets, you have to do that. You have to look to do that, toss the ball up, slow it down a bit. Like you said, get those revolutions going on the ball. That's what's going to get the batsman tempted and also possibly make mistakes as well. If you're going to keep bowling flat and quicker, going to be very hard to contain and as well as to get wickets.
122 for 2 after 13. Folks, if you've just joined us after the first ball, Cash and I will give you a quick rundown of the proceedings up until now.
As Sarat continues from the Rangoon Road end.
Well played to long off for a single by Manpreet. Singapore winning the toss by Surendran Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan. Surendran Chandramohan, after a couple of boundaries, skied one to point, taking Singapore back on track.
Oh, he has absolutely smoked that one behind square for a
The number of balls we've lost this tournament, Cash, has been unreal.
Indeed, it has, and if there's any kids who are watching at home, you want to come down after the tournament finishes. Parents around the park outside of the grounds, you're sure to find a few souvenirs for yourself.
Your doorstep.
Yes. The way Timothy is hitting them.
So yes, just to continue, so Rohan got a really well made 49, really took to the bowlers, had some absolutely towering sixes as part of his innings. He perished trying to play the lap sweep, getting caught at short fine leg of the bowling of Abhinash Pohara. Since then, Manpreet and Tim have been nudging the ball around and hitting the, I would like to say occasional, but it's actually not that occasional. It's been probably a big one every single over, Cash.
Yes, and again, any kids watching at home, this is especially into T20. The least number of dot balls. Yourselves in a good position. You have to look to take on the bowlers.
Manpreet missing that one outside off stump. Short over covers. Bit of a change to the field. Short third man and point and covers coming into play. Manpreet hitting that back of point. Bit of a misfield, allowing the batsman to go for one.
Looks very classy, Manpreet, when he plays those shots on the offside.
Certainly, with a lot of good batsmen, you can certainly see they have a little that extra time to play the ball.
And that's the key. That's the key. All you youngsters out there, always you should look to be watching the ball early out of the bowler's hands.
Tim David's asking for a change of gloves. Let's talk about Tim for a second here, Cash. Tim to acclimatize to the Singapore conditions. I certainly saw him a couple of times during the innings remove his helmet, and you can see sweat just absolutely pouring off his head. So kudos to him to actually acclimatize, come into the setup, and now obviously contribute to Singapore in a big way.
Oh yes, Singapore cricket is definitely enjoying the fruits of having him in the squad today. But you see, about the acclimatizing part, when you're in there, you set yourselves up with a nice score. The going, I'm lose a couple of kilos by the end of the innings, but we'll have to quickly go and rehydrate. I had heard from innings, and he used to sweat a lot. He would lose about 6 kilos in when you play those long test innings.
That reminds me of my Mitchell Stark conversation that, not that I had, wish I did, but when he had an interview, he certainly mentioned trying to tempt the batsman to a big one. I'm really keen to see how he goes here against Tim Davids. Single. He certainly would need to bowl a little bit more quicker to Tim Davids and maybe tempt Manpreet for that big shot with a bit of flight going.
Yep, let's see what he's going to bring in these next 5 balls. Nepal searching for that next wicket, and definitely Manpreet will be the first one to go to look to target, as he's just recently come to the crease. It is drive to extra. Looks elegant. Just absolutely love watching that shot when he plays.
But that was Basant Regmi again changing the approach and bowling that really.
Tim would be fancying himself to take this all the way, 65.
Well bowled by
played too long on by Manpreet for another single.
Really well fielded by Gyanendra Mala here at long on. Experienced campaigner with Singapore as well. Opening bat for Nepal. Experienced
doing a really good job so far of rotating the strike and letting the big shots.
Really well bowled by Basant Regmi again, really cramping Tim Davids for room, now allowing Tim to use those big levers.
Powerful shoulders.
Tim hailing from Western Australia.
Slightly moving the field there in the covers.
Full toss by Basant Regmi and caressed away to deep mid-wicket for 1 run by Manpreet Singh. The score's on 138 for 2 after 15 overs. Folks, if you've just joined in, just a quick rundown on the Nepalese team. Paras Khadka leading the side, followed by Gyanendra Mala, Sharad Wesokar, Basant Regmi, Sompal Kami, Dipendra Singh Airy, Sandeep Lamichane, Karan KC, and sorry, beg your pardon, Binoth Bandari and Abhinash Pohara. Cash, will you do the honours for Singapore?
Yes, as we will also have a change in the commentary box. Sharon will be taking a short break. Zubin joining us back again. Singapore today led by their medium fast bowler, experienced campaigner Amjad Mahboob, Anantha Krishna, the leg spinner, dot ball first up.
And the last 5 overs, Singapore have done really well to get to where they are.
Let's that one again. In play. Sweeper for a single. Or ideal score.
I always thought it needed to be around at least around 170, at least competitive. It's a good batting track, and Nepal are a strong batting side. So pair here, they're well set, and what they make of the last 5 overs is very, very important. Sharad he's bowling well. If you see what he's doing, is he's hitting the ball into the wicket. It might appear as half trackers, but it kind of reduces the options you have. Might appear as half tracker.
Hit out towards cow corner for us. Couple there by Manpreet. Yes, you're right, and he's also bowling smartly. You saw the earlier shot from Tim as he was stepping out. He fired the ball a bit wider. It was a bit harder for Tim to get under it. In the end,